Welcome back into another episode of Hefe's World. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. We are doing the Raw review episode. Raw kicked off with CM Punk pulling up to the arena and then making his way right down to the towards the ring area. Got right on top of the announcers table and cut a promo. He asked the fans what do they want him to talk about first. So he brings up The Rock, followed by John Cena, and then turns his complete attention to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins' music would eventually hit, and there was no words to be exchanged. Punk would immediately run up to the entrance ramp, and those two guys would brawl and beat the living hell out of each other. There was absolutely no security that could stop these guys. I mean, I feel like these guys fought for like 10 minutes before they could actually be broken up. Um, so it was definitely a great way to start Raw. Amazing action. I honestly cannot wait for the continuing chapters of this feud and what goes on for throughout the rest of this night. So stay tuned for that. And then a big announcement for next week as well. Um, so Seth and CM Punk are eventually broken up by the security guards, and we are hit with our first commercial break. Back from commercial, we have a backstage segment with the Judgment Day, Liv, Raquel, Carlito, and Dom. Finn eventually jumps in. He is sitting on the couch looking all upset. He pretty much tells him that he's going to deal with Breaker tonight. Um, and then back to the ring area, we have Otis in the ring already. Gunther's music hits. He makes his way to the ring. As he makes his way to the ring, he cuts a promo. He hits a cheap shot on Otis before the match starts to begin the match. We are set for Gunther versus Otis. For a lot of people, probably thought Gunther would just beat the living hell out of Otis real quick and this match would be over. That was absolutely not the case. Otis put on one hell of a match here, one great showing from Otis. They pulled up the WWE ratings at one point. Otis was listed as a 75. That did not look like a 75 facing I believe it was a 92. Otis definitely put on one great match. But Gunther got the pinfall victory here, of course. The champions got to remain strong. After the match, Gunther would try and attack Otis. Tozawa would jump in. Gunther would sling him off of him. And Jay Uso's music would hit, and he would eventually run down to the ring. Um, he would spear Gunther. Eventually, once Gunther got out of the ring, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller would come in and attack Jay. Jay would get the upper hand on those two guys, and then Gunther would get back in the ring and attack him from behind and hit him and get him in a sleeper hold and put Jay to sleep. Um, so it was a very unfortunate ending for Jay, but Jay definitely looked very strong throughout a lot of portions of that segment. So there are a lot of positive signs for Jay winning the title at Mania, but you just never know in this new Hunter area what's exactly going to happen. So we definitely got to stay paid attention to that. Then we get a video package for the Rhea and Io Sky match and for the main event later on tonight, followed by Ivy Nile and Lyra shown walking towards the ring. Back from commercial break, we are hit with the promo from AJ Styles and Karrion Kross. They go back and forth in the backstage area. Then back to the ring area. Ivy Nile is uh already in the ring. Lyra Valkyria makes her way down to the ring, and we are set for a women's Intercontinental Championship match. Great showing from Ivy Nile. There were points in the match where I thought maybe she could win. But Lyra Valkyria, of course, gets the pinfall and she remains our women's Intercontinental Champion. So once again, Chad Gable was most likely disappointed in his road to redemption against Luchadors. Uh, backstage, we try to get an interview with CM Punk, but secure Rollins runs up and then security has to break that up again. Back from commercial, we had a replay of Rollins trying to be interviewed during the commercial, but Punk, of course, came up. So these guys are definitely going back and forth. There's no stopping these guys. After that little quick video is aired, we see Adam Pearce with Seth Rollins in the parking lot area. They are cutting a promo back and forth that eventually ends with Adam Pearce telling CM Punk, Adam Pearce telling Seth Rollins that him and CM Punk next week will face each other inside of a steel cage match. So major, major match announced for next week, WrestleMania type match. So I have a huge prediction for that match, but I'm going to save that for next week's episode preview. So definitely make sure y'all hit that subscribe button to get that. But I believe I have a major spoiler that could happen in that during that steel cage match for next week. However, back inside the ring era, we have Ludwig Kaiser cutting a promo uh, that eventually leads to him going into Penta. Penta's music would eventually hit. He would make his way down to the ring, and them two would immediately go after each other. Um, Kaiser eventually takes him out, poses in the ring. I'm sorry. Penta eventually takes Kaiser out and poses in the ring. Then we get a backstage segment. Bianca's cutting a promo, followed by the Creed brothers and War Raiders shown making their way down to the ring. Back from commercial, we have a video package of Chad Gable's journey. It's very interesting to see he's handed a box towards the end, so I'm sure a lot of people are speculating there's a mask in that box, and that Chad Gable is going to come back as a masked luchador wrestler. Um, kind of kind of gives me Kurt Angle old vibes when he was in a mask for a little bit. So I'm curious to see. I feel like Chad's in a trajectory of how Kurt Angle's career is going. So I'm just curious to see exactly what happens here. But it is very possible that he has a whole lucha outfit in that box, and he comes back as a masked wrestler in a new uniform. So we'll see what happens from that video package that we saw, where he was handed a box towards the end. But back to the ring, we are set with the Creed brothers in there, and the War Raiders make their way down to the ring for a WWE Tag Team Championship match. Great back and forth action between these guys. Again, just like an Ivy Niles match for the Creed brothers. There were times in this match where you thought the Creeds were going to get it done for Chad Gable. However, the War Raiders would come away victorious and continue to reign as our WWE Tag Team Champions. Then we are hit with the video package from LWO. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee will be facing the New Day next week. So we have another match announced for next week. The LWO cut a great backstage promo. Dragon Lee, I'm sure a lot of people before this were like, "Dang, I didn't know he could talk." Um, Excellent on the mic. Rey Mysterio coming back. Can't wait to see that in the ring as well. Rhea is then shown backstage as well as Io getting ready for their main event match later on tonight. Then back from commercial, Finn's in the ring, Breaker's in the crowd, and they cut promos back and forth. Um, Braun would eventually make his way down to the ring. Carlito would try and attack him, but that does not work. Dom would try and do the same thing. That does not work. Finn would eventually attack Braun, but Braun would eventually get the upper hand. Dom grabs Finn out the ring, and then Braun would run over and attack Carlito after Finn and Dom went up the entrance ramp. Then we get a video replay of the men's elimination chambers Cena turn after he won. So unfortunately we have no John Cena, no Rock tonight, but we all we get is a video replay. There's been rumors that John Cena will not appear on any WWE television until March 17th. So I'm curious to see if The Rock appears at all, or what happens. I guess we'll just be getting a bunch of video replays until then. So we shall see. Um, After this, we see Jay backstage walking. He has a quick talk with Otis, and then then he cuts a promo about how everybody is doubting him. This is followed up by Bianca Belair's music hitting. She makes her way down to the ring for the main event. We are hit with a commercial. Back from commercial, Io makes her way down to the ring, followed by Rhea Ripley making her way down to the ring, and we are set for the Raw Women's Title Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Excellent back and forth match. Before this match, it was shown that Io had never lost to Rhea Ripley. But even still, with that stat, I'm sure many people had Rhea retaining this title on their cards. But towards the end of this match, Rhea and Bianca would get into it towards the back, towards the outside area, right by the announcers table. The ref would pretty much break it up, not call the disqualification, which I kind of thought was a little interesting. I feel like normally they would have called a disqualification here, but they did not. Rhea would get back into the ring, looking. It really did look like she was getting ready to end Io Sky. Io would hit a reversal from the top rope, followed by an over the moon from the top rope. And we are hit with a 1, 2, 3. I'm sure a lot of people were shocked when Io won. I was, for one, shocked when Io won, but Io's never lost to Rhea. So, will we get a triple threat match? That was my original prediction on the Raw preview. We didn't get too much after the match, so I guess we have to wait till next week to see what actually goes down. But I would not be surprised if Rhea's inserted into this match, or are we slated for Bianca versus Io Sky in the main event? So we shall see. Um, but overall, Raw, interesting episode. We didn't get too much, but I feel like we got enough on this road to WrestleMania. Next week's card is absolutely stacked. So, but before that, we have SmackDown. So make sure y'all hit that subscribe button down below. I'll hit y'all with another episode later on in the week for SmackDown. And just remember, this is Hefe's World, and you're just living in it.